Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Arrow, Season 5, Episode 15. It's called Fighting Fire with Fire, which you know if you've watched the episode, because they said it like four goddamn times.
To be fair, three.
Okay, three. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. The other disclaimer that I'm always going to say for Arrow now is we don't like Arrow very much. We watch it out of completion's sake because we watch the other CW DC shows. Connor gets drunk for it. We kind of make fun of it, and
Cheers, guys.
we're generally quite snarky, and it's not the same as what we do for other shows. So just if that sounds like you don't want to hear us bitch about it and just complain, fine, I understand. But this is what it's going to be.
But piss off now, basically.
So, yeah, fighting fire with fire. Right now, I have no problem because Diggle says it to Felicity because he's talking about Felicity's hacking and this Pandora's box with these hackers, and you're doing all these dodgy things. You're blackmailing politicians with these pretty reasonable lies. Like someone lied that his wife's suicide was just an accident because he didn't want it to be public. That's relatively a fair thing. I wouldn't begrudge him for it.
And she comes out with a bullshit of, well, he's a politician, so he's not a human.
Oh yeah,
like,
I was ignoring
she
that.
actually says that.
But let's forget that for a minute. So Diggle says, if you fight fire with fire, you're going to end up getting burned, or something to that effect. Because he compares it to them. It's like, yeah, we fight fire with fire, but sometimes we always run the risk of getting burned. Right? That's fine. Later on in the episode, when she meets her hacktivist friend, and she like confirms, yeah, I'm going to go all in with this hacktivism. I've not learned anything. She says, well, fighting fire, and she references that conversation. She says fighting fire with fire, and that was okay because that's her referencing the previous conversation, so it makes sense that she said it again. What bothered me is that in between these two scenes there was a scene with Thea and Oliver where he said to her that if you fight fire with fire you're going to get burned. He said the exact same thing, and it annoyed the shit out of me.
And it actually bothered me in the final scene because even though it was for her a reference to her own conversation, which is totally fair enough, I'm not disputing that in terms of writing, it felt more annoying because we'd already had it brought up again. So this was then a third time instead of just a second.
But let's talk about the headline of this episode. It's funny because like something like 8 episodes ago, we just went, alright, so Adrian's vigilante then. We just assumed that he was vigilante. We knew he was a masked villain. Turns out we got the vigilante in question wrong. It was Prometheus he was the whole time. But you knew he was going to be one of them. And we'd known for ages. We'd known from like episode 5 or 6, whenever we first had that revelation. But if you weren't sure about it before this episode, there's a scene in this where he like insists that he gets evidence from Dinah. At the crime scene, which by the way, those CSI people who were like combing the scene were shit because she found that in like 2 seconds.
They're bloody awful, aren't they?
And no one else had found it. But he insists he take it, and for some reason, I don't think he's typically a bad actor, but for some reason, his like fake, his dressing it up as, oh, I'll just do this so you can go deal with your emergency, and
it was awful.
It was awful. For some reason, his acting plummeted for that scene.
And do you know what? I often refer to him as not Jake Gyllenhaal, because I feel like his voice and the way he acts and the mannerisms are a Jake Gyllenhaal impression. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Jake Gyllenhaal's a very good actor, and I don't think he's that bad. But in that scene...
yeah. And before you say, oh, it's meant to be bad because he's pretending... well, sure, but he's been lying about helping Oliver the whole season. He's been pretending to be a friend and an ally all season without it seeming that bad, with it all feeling relatively genuine. And then just for this one scene where he has to take this bit of evidence, suddenly his acting just plummets.
That's the thing. Like we complained about, I think it was last week, we complained a lot about the guest actors.
That was 2 weeks ago. Was it last
okay.
Week? Well, yeah, 2 weeks ago I think it was.
I'm not sure anymore. Whenever we complained about it, well, it was we complained heavily, and we've laughed at him for being an impression, but he's never been that bad as an actor. Like it's been perfectly fine, if not good at times. But this was downright awful.
Yeah, and of course, so Vigilante, because Oliver, they found out at the end of last episode that Oliver covered up for the Green Arrow for this Detective Malone murder, and Vigilante takes a hit at Green Arrow. Prometheus doesn't like this very much, so Prometheus attacks Vigilante on a random scene, and this, at the end of this scene when he takes off the mask and he makes a phone call, and the camera spins round as we hear the Prometheus theme playing.
Which I unashamedly still love for some reason.
It's just so over the top.
It is, and that's why I love it.
And it got even worse in this
help
episode, though, because at the end of the episode when he's like threatening Oliver's girlfriend, and he comes up and he's like, "No, this needs to. I need to talk to you about an exclusive." And she's like, "Oh, can I wait till the morning?" And it's when he shuts the car door, it just kicks in this descending theme.
I'm convinced she can hear it. It's this descending chromatic scale, and I love it. It's so cheesy, it's so over the top, but I truly love it. It's the best musical thing Arrow has given me in like 2 years.
Yeah. So what did you wanted to say something about the reveal?
Yeah. Okay. So back, the first half of the season, Googie, as the showrunner, was giving us clues as to who it was. Mm-hmm. He was like, he said, "Oh, you can figure it out. It's someone who has a history with Oliver as the Arrow, not as the Green Arrow." It was, which we got a bit of last week because, he talked about his mother and whatever. And he actually said, "Oh, you can figure it out because of this." It's like, well, we can't, can we? Because it was just a bullshit reveal. Sure, he might be connected to something might have happened to him 5 years ago, but we didn't see it.
Yeah, there's nothing that we would know about right now about Adrian's past that would connect him to.
Yeah, that was his big thing. It was like, oh, it's connected to his past. It's connected to his first year as a vigilante.
Interesting, though. Now that we know he's Prometheus, we don't actually know who Vigilante is.
Yeah, because we were convinced it was him. Even to the point at the start of this episode where he said something, it sounded just like him.
Yeah, every time he spoke, it sounded like Adrian was speaking through the mask. So that was
it really did.
Weird. By the way, speaking of Vigilante, so he tries to assassinate Oliver again later on with a sniper rifle, and the team come in to fight him. Terrific Wild Dog and Diggle, or Spartan, I should say, if I'm using the code names.
You're using it for the others.
And the only thing that sticks out to me during this scene is that Vigilante somehow has the powers of Michael Myers, where he just disappears out of scenes and teleports.
I mean, there's that, but it's also the fact that he literally had Oliver in his... We see it through his vision.
Yeah.
He's in his sights.
He could have took the shot there, yeah.
He could have taken the shot and then just pissed off. But, nah. Because plot.
He gets hit with an explosive. We'll talk about that in a minute, what that was. But he gets hit with the explosive, and he's gone out of the scene. There's no reason he could have vanished in front of them. He was right in front of them, he was right in front of us, and he just wasn't there anymore.
It's just bullshit.
It was stupid. But yeah, let's talk about...
Maybe he's a meta and he has a teleporting power and they just haven't told us yet.
Maybe. I mean, he did get thrown off a roof and then he wasn't there when he looked over the edge.
If they tell me that, I'll allow it.
Sure.
That will fix some holes.
Speaking of holes, let's talk about Curtis's balls.
Oh boy.
So Curtis is making T-spheres, which if you're familiar with Mr. Terrific in the comics, he's got the T-spheres that do stuff, and it's a big part of the character.
It did a little excited, I'm not going to lie, because T-spheres and Mr. Terrific go hand in hand.
Yeah, and he's tinkering with them, and he's using them basically just as grenades, but also as tracking devices so far. We'll see if they develop them a bit and make them more
He did say one was offensive and one was defensive, so I'm hoping they play up on that angle.
Yeah, which sounds tactical, but he would use both of them as grenades in this one, so...
He did.
So I don't know how much that's going to come into play, but we'll see. But the fact is, as soon as he started tinkering with them, I made a joke about him handling balls.
He had two of them, and they are ball shaped.
Yeah, and not just because the character's gay, although that did add to the joke a little bit. It was just he's handling two balls, but then Renee comes in and he makes a joke about his balls, and he says it a couple of times, and every time they joked about balls, we were laughing pretty hard.
And the problem is, I can't tell if it's meant to be funny or if it's only funny because we were laughing about it.
It's definitely meant to be funny. The question is it actually funny? Like, is it good humour? Or are we just laughing because we already cracked that joke and it was making us laugh because of that?
Here's my honest thing. I probably would have laughed either way because, it's basic humour. It's just balls. So, I'm childish enough to enjoy that humour.
So sometimes the simplest jokes are the funniest ones.
Exactly. So I'm gonna give him that one.
But no, it was one of them said Renee made a ball comment and then it cut to reaction shots of Felicity and Diggle both kind of snickering. It was like, yeah, okay, that's kind of funny. The problem with Curtis's plot in this episode is that he says at the start, Curtis has messaged me, we're going to go on...
Paul, not Curtis. He's Curtis.
Yeah. Paul's messaged me, and we're going to go on a date. And if I know Paul, it's because he's willing to get back together. And as soon as he said that, divorce papers.
He did say that.
I said it out loud as soon as he said
did.
that.
And Anyone who follows these reviews will know I will call Pierre out on shit if he makes up something. He did say that out loud.
And lo and behold, he goes to the dinner at the end. After he actually cuts Oliver off. I actually did appreciate that he said, "Oliver, I'm glad you're giving us a speech that we're all heroes and all that." But
I'm pissing off.
yeah, I've got another set of balls to fondle potentially. Let me go. And he leaves, goes to dinner, and of course he sits down, and Paul hands him just the divorce papers, and it's all sad for Curtis, and seeing it coming a mile away, he's like, yeah, whatever. So that's the thing.
It's hard to care when you call it out in the first scene of the episode, isn't it?
It's also hard to care when Paul's just been a plot device. He's not a character. He's just... He's there to give Curtis a reason. He was there to give Curtis a reason why he didn't want to be a hero last season, and this season it's just been kind of a source of drama.
And the thing is, I like Curtis. I think out of the team, the new team, he's clearly the most developed because he had most of last season as well.
Honestly, I think they're all okay, to be honest. Like, I think if you put them all with better writers or whatever, I think they'd all be fine. Like, Dinah seems fine. Wild Dog has his moments. Like, it was funny in this one when the first ball joke he made is like, "Oh, you weren't very good in the field, so you decided to give yourself balls." And he's like, "Oh, that was a bit harsh, wasn't it?" He's like, "Yeah, but you're noticing it, and that's the first step." I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of funny."
Do you know what's really funny? They haven't mentioned Evelyn about in a long, long time.
I know. Evelyn betrayed them. She's with Prometheus, and we've not seen her or heard from her or heard them mention her since.
Exactly. But my original point was, the rest of the team, they're not bad, and like you say, in better writers, they could be very good. Curtis is clearly the most developed just because he's had the most time.
The funny thing is, though, is I like all the new people more than I do Diggle or Felicity. Or even Thea, to be honest. Like, all of them they've grated on me for so long. And
I'm not sure I'd agree about Diggle.
Diggle, he feels so one-dimensional. Like, see,
no. I agree about that. He feels one-dimensional, but he doesn't piss me off in the same way the others do. He has bad plots, but he doesn't make actively... utterly moronic, stupid decisions like
not moronic. He's just annoying. Like in this episode, when Felicity starts like, "Oh, I'm going to attack and blackmail a politician," Diggle, like he starts his speech and it's like, "Oh, here comes the dad with the speech." Like that's what he feels like. He feels like
okay. I'm not going to argue with
that. It feels like he always.
It's not as bad as Felicity in this episode, though.
She's whatever. She cracks her jokes. Oh.
No. She caused a problem. She got Oliver's girlfriend fired. Oh, yes. She literally hacked into her computer, planted false evidence, and then Oliver went, "Hey, do you want to sort this shit out because you caused it?" She went, "Hey, you're the boyfriend. You deal with it."
Yes. So he goes to Thea, "You need to fix this." It's like, and then he goes to Felicity. It's like, I know this might be awkward, but you need to fix this. You got her fired by doing illegal activity. You ruined this woman's life. You need to do this. And she has the cheek to hit back. Well, technically, you're the boyfriend, so you needs to be the one that fixes it. No, if he'd pissed her off by missing a date, if he'd
done something, if he'd done anything, fair enough.
Yeah, no. He not only was this your skill set in hacking and doing all this shit that caused the problem,
he did it behind his back. Yeah. He had no knowledge of this.
He didn't even ask.
Not blame him. I am all for blaming Oliver for shit because he's done his fair share of shit.
On a regular
we're
basis.
Okay with that. Maybe even in this episode, maybe. But this is not one of them. He had nothing to do with that. She literally went, "Hey, you've kind of screwed this woman out of her entire career just to protect me. And you know what? I appreciate the gesture, but let's fix this, shall we? And get her a job back." She went, "Hey, you know what? You're the boyfriend. You've solved the problem. You're concerned now."
And Thea realises that she's got her bloodlust back. It's just now she's doing it with slander and politics, and it just she resigns. She resigns from office.
I'm not gonna lie, that Felicity thing really pissed me off because at least Thea, she accepts that she did it.
Yeah.
Felicity's like, "Hey," like Thea is like, "Yeah, I did it, but I did it for you. I made that choice." Felicity's like, your problem.
Yeah, Felicity, like Oliver pointed out in the last episode, she's been like her mother. Like you can see hints of it in there.
I'm actually angry just thinking about that scene again because he did, for once, he did nothing wrong.
in this particular
In
topic,
this particular scenario, he did nothing
in
wrong.
this very specific topic, I can't even say this episode, but in this specific topic, he did nothing wrong.
Exactly.
But of course, his entire plan to not be impeached because he goes to a hearing and all the rest of it is that he has to throw someone under the bus, and he's not willing to like disgrace the memory of Malone. He's not willing to throw Adrian under the bus, although we know that he's actually Prometheus, so it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, he'd have really solved his problems if he'd done that, wouldn't he?
But then again, if you did throw him under the bus, then he'd just be free to be Prometheus all the time. So that's debatable.
Well, it depends. It depends if they went, hey, maybe we should jail you for this absolute lie and obstruction of justice.
Also true. Also true.
And then he could have been behind bars.
But his great big plan is to come out to the world and then throw Green Arrow under the bus and say Green Arrow is now a cop killer and they should be imprisoned. And do you know what? Had this happened in a vacuum, I'd be like, that's a good idea. You're making a villain out yourself. You're not throwing anyone else under the bus. It's a very noble thing to do. The problem is as the characters even point out, but they've been like public enemy number one before, like multiple times, in fact.
I can think of at least twice where Oliver himself has been accused of being the Green Arrow. I mean, that's what I even think about. Twice off the top of my head, where he's been accused of it, and they were like, "Hey, we think this is you."
It just feels like been there, done that.
Just Quentin interviewed him twice over it. Like once in first or second season. It was pretty early on, and then third season when Roy took the fall.
Yeah, Roy ended up taking the fall,
but that was two separate occasions when that happened.
That was the biggest example of it when, but. Even forgetting that they thought Oliver might be the Green Arrow at one point, like forget that. Just the core subject of Green Arrow himself is the public enemy, and that the cops all want him.
That was kind of the entire first two seasons.
Arguably, it was even more season 3 when Roy had to take the fall for him.
That's true.
Well, that was a big, huge plot point.
That's a very good point.
And now I'm supposed to be excited that we're going down that path again?
Yeah, it's not like we haven't covered this for literally half of the show.
Sorry, I don't. It also just feels like constantly he's back at like Green Arrow. Oh, the public like him. The public don't like him. It's just back and forth. Like I like a plot where the hero loses the trust of the public and they have to win it back. That's a good plot. Once you do it two,
arguably,
3 times.
He's never lost the public's trust. He just never earned it in the first place for the first 3 seasons.
Okay, kind of fair, I guess.
But it feels like that was a long time to earn it, and then a very little time to lose it, comparatively.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Adrian's going after Susan, Oliver's girlfriend at the end. After her and Oliver just made up.
Kind of impressed you remembered her name.
I didn't. I looked at the IMDb before I said
okay.
it.
Okay, never mind. Ignore me.
Eagle-eyed viewers would have noticed my eyes just looking across there to catch her name. I thought, I'll get her name at least once.
I'm not sober enough to see that.
We had flashbacks, and the flashbacks were basically instead of killing what's his face,
Anatoly.
Thank you. Instead of killing him, we're going to have Russian mob court, and the Bratva will vote.
I was struggling to keep up with the subtitles, given my state of inebriation. And I kind of assumed it was a trial by combat, and I was a little bit disappointed when it wasn't.
No, so Oliver ducked out for a scene. So one flashback was him breaking into Kovar's place to get a laptop. He then showed up in the middle of the voting and proved that the other guy was like villainous and betraying the Bratva. The scene ended with them all breaking into a gunfight, and that was the last flashback of the episode. So we'll pick up at that exciting plot next week.
Again, no complete arc in a flashbacks.
Not even close.
Do you know what? Like, people can complain about the show all they want, but first season, or at least 2 seasons, maybe, they did give us like complete reasons to like the flashback. Maybe not care about the flashbacks, but at least they were thematically relevant with the episode, right?
Oh, we're long past that.
Yeah, like you would agree that once upon a time, the flashbacks were relevant to the episode.
Yeah, sure. The minute he left that island is the minute they stopped being remotely interesting or relevant.
I think I would agree with that, because I what was the point in the flashbacks this episode in relation to what was going on in the present?
Well, I would argue that at least in this one there was at least a thematic link in the sense that they were also voting, like the impeachment court. There was a vote.
Is that enough? Is that what classes as enough now for a flashback thematic relevance?
Compared to half the flashbacks this season, it's
I mean,
gold.
sure, compared to some of them, that is amazing. But is that actually what classes enough?
In season 5 of Arrow, it does.
Touche, good sir.
Is there anything else that's worth talking about? I think I'm done.
I hate this episode. I hate this show. I love the Prometheus theme. And I hate that I love the Prometheus theme.
That's fair. That's this week's Arrow. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. Individual Twitters on the screen. And there's no break next week. I was hoping there'd be a break soon, but there's not. Which is unfortunate.
Not in the foreseeable future, unfortunately.
Which is annoying. All the other shows have taken 1 week breaks here or there, and this one is...
I feel like this has been going forever without a break, actually. Like it hasn't had one since Christmas, right?
I don't think so.
I don't recall one, and that's far too long without a break.
Oh wait, did I have a break last week? No, I didn't.
No.
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 Wishful
No,
thinking.
my liver just give me a punch going, no, we didn't. We didn't have a break.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.